I got ideas. Avast me hearties, and welcome once again to Fuller Stream Ahead. I'm your Captain Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me, as always, is me first mate and skinny rich friend.
It's Mozz.
Welcome, Mozz. Oh, Mozz, in a world of capes and lunatics, of gods and monsters, there is a world of magic and mystery. It is the land of Willow Ufgood, and this is the story of Willow. Season 1, Episode 2, The High Aldwin. The Nelwyn villagers welcome the young adventurers sent by Queen Sorsha. Willow Ufgood, the High Aldwin, offers guidance as they continue their journey. Our director this week is Stephen Rufenden. We got Bob Dolman on our written by credit, Jonathan Kasdan on our developed by, George Lucas gets those based on characters created by, and hardest unsung hero in show business this week, John Bickerstaff as our staff writer, uncredited. Oh, so this is neat because this, of course, so at the end of the last episode, our heroes, such as they are, came to the village of Willow Ufgood, and petitioned his aid, and of course he immediately recognized Alora, the rightful empress of the land of Laura Dannon, played by Ellie Bamber, the rightful empress of the world, but who has heretofore only been a cook.
A maid.
So she kind of had her history kind of.
Oh no, she was a baker.
Kind of
baking those famous cookies.
Yeah, but it's interesting that they kept her in the kitchen, separated out from the magical world, kept as a hanger-on, kept in, interestingly enough, a subservient position, though. It's an interesting statement. And I haven't gone too far in this, but I do wonder if there's going to be something about that's going to come up, that maybe the real corruption was maybe from the queen herself. Maybe it's one of those things where
the queen seems to know that she's a Laura Dannon.
Oh no, of course she does. She does.
Right.
But it was this choice that she made, arguably for Alora's protection, to keep her out of the way of magic. But at the same time, it also hindered her, because it was this idea, we'll protect her from magic by just keeping her away from magic. But perhaps in that, in and of itself, was also that fear of magic.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea that if we just don't allow magic to exist, maybe the magic can't hurt us. And I think I mentioned this last week, that there's like that alternate reading of the Dursleys, if you want to, that, from their perspective, having the magical chosen one in your house can be very overwhelming and very scary. And although evil responses are not appropriate ever, it's still one of those things where you can sort of get this idea that, maybe what they were trying to do was to prevent, if they could just keep the magic out of the house, maybe they'd be safe. That maybe they could live normal human lives, and maybe the queen felt, if we can just keep her away from the magic, she can live this life, but more importantly, I can live I can live a normal life. And,
That's the real.
you know, maybe quite frankly, I like being queen. So maybe remaining as queen is an advantage to me. And sure, eventually we all know Laura Dannon will return and be empress, and that's great, so long as that's not today. And then, you know, it's sort of this interesting aspect of it when you start to unfold it. Is the evil coming into the kingdom because the evil was always there? Dun dun dun. It's a possibility, but regardless, that's just a crazy fan theory. It may not pan out, but because, like I said, I have not watched past two. I've been very good. I want to be surprised. I want to get into this as we go and just really be excited by it. But yeah, I question the choices made by the queen in this.
Oh, certainly. There's a measure of laziness. There's a measure of self-serving in her decision to keep her away from the magic. And I think she knows deep down inside that it's not good for the realm, but it's good for right now.
Yeah, well, I guess from her perspective, if her realm is just the edge of the world, you know, is just to the barrier, and we keep the barrier there, and then that is all it need be, then maybe she's content. She's content to rule the universe in a nutshell, you know?
Right, but she keeps getting these premonitions that keep like trying to warn her, and she's just putting the blinders on and not paying attention to any of it.
Yeah. And that was Hamlet's problem, you know. He could be happy king in a nutshell, if not that he had dreams, you know. And that, I think, is something of Queen Sorcia's problems, is that she wants to be happy in her little magical kingdom, but even Mad Mardigan wasn't. Mad Mardigan went and left. And there's all this talk about the Shattered Sea, which is, you know, again, the next edge of the world. But you see in this that each edge of the world is not really an edge. That the magical barrier around their kingdom, that's just something you walk through. And the Shattered Sea, it's a sea, probably a particularly rough sea, but if you sail across it, you'll get to another place.
Seems
and that another
reminds me a lot of Wanda's motivations in keeping that town segregated.
And it's not dissimilar. It is actually similar. It is this barrier around a town. It's keeping it how she wants it to be, her perfect magic kingdom, you know.
But you gotta know that can't last. And I think deep down inside, they both knew it wasn't gonna last. But to just have was maybe let me just have a moment, and we'll get back to the madness when we get back to it.
Maybe but at the same time, I do think because we get our flashback to Willow in this, who accidentally does a stranger danger. You know, as he goes up to the little girl.
Well-intentioned as it might have been.
Yes. Why don't you come back to my magical fairy place?
You're special.
At least, yes, at least they taught her right. I don't know you. I don't know you. Yeah. So, but it worked out well, and you know, he stomps off. He takes his people underground, which I also found a very interesting idea here, because obviously there is danger outside of. It's like you have the magical barrier and of the land without magic, and then outside they just let the rest of the world seemingly go to heck.
Yeah.
And that leaves Willow and his people out there, and they're like, well, we're going to go live underground because they have the last sorcerer, so he can protect his people, you know.
Yeah.
But then, you know, also maybe like the hobbits, they're just never seen as a threat, you know.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like he's a very adept sorcerer, though. You know, quite contrary to every time he claims it, but seems like he's more of a traditional magician.
Yes, yes, he does his disappearing pig trick.
Right.
Although, not for nothing, the disappearing pig trick saved the last movie, you know?
Mhm.
It's the fact that, yes, misdirection and da-da-da, you know?
Right.
Um, and, and that was the thing. And you got this with the previous High Aldwin, played amazingly by uh, Billy Barty, who I think we all assumed was a great wizard. Uh, but although that's an interesting joke, someone actually made a point of that the amount of magic you actually see Gandalf do in the books is very limited.
Hmm.
That everyone says he's the great sorcerer Gandalf, but we don't see him do a lot, because every time he does his magic, it's always off screen. He has a fight, he does something. We imagine the big wizard battle between what is it? Is it Suleiman and Gandalf when they have the big fight
Saruman.
in the Two Towers?
Saruman.
Yeah, Saruman and Gandalf. We imagine that, but I don't think that's actually in the book that they have the big, you know, wizard battle. So far, we know it's just two old men in a slap fight.
I mean,
It's like, no, no, no. Stop it.
no,
You
you
stop
shall
it.
not pass.
Yes, So it's an interesting way that you can look at things, that so much of magic maybe is presentation, as
Hmm.
Megamind would say, that, yeah, it may not be what you're thinking of for absolute power,
Yeah, you might have
but
two
it
fake
is.
chi masters. Ooh,
Yes,
you
you
know,
know,
like, why is it not
but
working?
you do, but you have to have that showmanship. Um, we get we get the magical incantation that Alora has to do, and it doesn't seem to go well.
I thought that
But
part was
again,
really
I think that
interesting.
there's.
Because it reminded
Mhm,
me a lot of like a famous book in the world of psychedelics is The Teachings of Don Juan, and it's about this sociology
mhm.
professor who goes into the mountains of Arizona to find this shaman, and he studies with him. And the first lesson he gives him, sends him into a dark room and tells him to just find your spot. He goes, whatever you think that means, find your spot. And like it's like the book is written as diary entries, and you see these long 8-12 hours where he's like, so I think this is the spot, I think this is the spot. And then finally, once he finally gives up and the spot he feels comfortable in was his spot, it's like this weird sort of thing to make you give up your expectations, I guess. But I found a mirror in that somebody learning like the dark arts has to go through an initiation like that to break their spell of what they think reality is or what they want it to be before they can allow it to be free inside them.
Well, and to be fair, that's the finger test, and that's like, she's got to
Ah,
be able to pass the finger test, right? And of course, the finger test is, which finger holds the power to change the world, and the answer is your own. You know, and that's the thing. But if you're actually thinking like, oh, this is and it's sort of this idea, it's a magical gesture, but really it's not a magical gesture. It's letting the magic flow through you. It's understanding the magic. And the idea of the words, if you focus too much on the words, you just get further and further away from it, because you're trying to do the words and you're not trying to do the magic. The words are just meant there to help you feel the magic.
to focus it.
And exactly. And likewise with again Flash Thompson coming in for the win again, that he's the one who just talks to her and says, "Look, man, we're all here because we all think you're the chosen, and it's funny to us that you don't think you are, because that makes either us idiots or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, we're here because of you. We're here because we really feel you're the one that actually can do this, and it's funny that you're the only one that doesn't believe it." And
Right,
when
because I
that
mean, like,
happens,
it's also putting a mountain of responsibility on her too. So they're just saying, "Oh, what a gift! You're the chosen." Yeah, yeah. Okay, so now I have to be responsible for all these things. So it's a heavy burden for her to. She's not sure if she wants it. She's not sure if she's capable. And it's a very presumptuous thing for
yeah,
everybody else to be like, "Yeah, you should be fine with this immediately." Like, man, I've been like a lowly maid my whole life, and now I find myself in this situation. Let me find it.
yes.
And my
Although,
favorite
and
thing
this is
out of all their interactions is Kit, and how she now has to confront the fact that, oh, maybe I am just a spoiled little brat, right? All this like rebellious streak that I had, now all of a sudden the thing that I didn't even want, I don't even want it. Now I can't have it. I'm like, wait a second, no, that's mine. What are you talking about? That's supposed to be mine. And you can see that building inside her. That to me is
yeah.
a fascinating piece of the politics of what's happening here. It's so fun.
Oh yeah. Well, and that I think is the whole of it. And I think you mentioned this the last time. It's like none of them have been on this adventure, and
Mm.
even the ones, you gave me a lot of pushback with
The
I always
brother.
call him Flash Thompson every time.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
Tony. Oh, sorry, Graydon
Great.
Hastur,
Okay.
played by the great Tony Rivolori. That I mentioned. I'll bet you he does know how to do something like shoot an arrow, throw not, because that's part of your training. That's going to be part of everything he does as he's growing up in the castle. And likewise, that was the thing for for Kit. It was, yeah, I am going to learn to fight, and I'm going to be a great warrior like my father, and this is who I'm going to be. But at the same time, none of that was real.
Mm-hmm.
It was all training. It was all games. Learning defense, you know, or, learning judo or anything like that, and being in a bar fight or being on a battlefield. It's that knowledge will come in handy, but it's a very different situation. And then, of course, the more structured it is, the more and more different it becomes. And that's the thing. She was given the opportunity to just do what she wanted. And it seems all rebellious, but how rebellious can it be? Her mom was a warrior queen too, so really, it's kind of just going into the family business.
Right,
It's not like
right,
she wanted to be a dentist, It's
right.
she was doing exactly what her mom and dad both were totally into.
It's kind of
So
like,
she's not
Tony
exactly.
Soprano telling his kid he doesn't want him in the business. It's like, come on, I can do this.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, and again, for what's his name, Soprano? I forget Tony's kid's name.
Uh,
Um,
I
yeah,
remember Meadow, but I don't remember the kid's name.
yeah, we all remember Meadow. Um, but Tony Soprano, and it's like he doesn't want his kid to go into the business, but his kid wants to because that sounds so much easier than actually doing what real life is.
Right, right.
You know,
Seems easier.
it's like just and they put him in charge of his little, their little porn operation in South Jersey, and that's fine. The world needs porn too. Uh, but moving right along, yeah. So, but again, like I said, uh, Graydon has to speak with her, and then even after she's captured, that's when the magic actually happens. That's when the plants do grow. And it grows just as it says. And actually, what's interesting is he says, once you get it, yeah, we'll get one about that high. And it actually grows to about that high. It's exactly what Willow would
Mhm.
said. And it's really just this idea of you have to do this. Now, what's interesting, of course, is that Willow doesn't do it himself first to say, see, this is possible. Maybe that's because he can't, or maybe it's because if he did do it, that's going to make it so it's harder for her to do it.
Right. It would defeat the purpose because the purpose is for you to break the holds of what you think reality is. And if he does
Yeah.
it for you, then it's like you're not discovering it for yourself. Your heart never discovers it, never has the
Exactly.
moment of, oh no, is this real? And then you achieve it, it gets rid of that feeling. Then you're just chasing a mimicry of something as opposed to personal discovery.
Yeah, I actually think that's another thing we're going to get later. Is I do think we're going to get Willow in a sorcerer battle where he's going to be, sort of like in Revenge of the Sith, where he does suddenly it's like, oh no, I actually am a great sorcerer. How do you think I kept my tiny village safe against all of the threats of evil for the last however many years it's been?
Yeah.
This is what I had to do.
It might be that he's afraid to use the magic because he knows that it will send ripples in the magic space-time continuum that others will be able to perceive.
Or even more than that, but you also have the possibility of negative outcomes from your use of magic.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, the bad forces will be able to sense the magic being used, and it will be like an echolocation beam going out saying, hey, come get us.
Well, actually, I'm thinking more like a balance of the universe kind of thing. That I can do magic for parties, but that magic comes from somewhere and it's taking something to make here that maybe we don't need to make. And that's like, as a training exercise, okay, this is important because you need to break through, you need to actually do your first magic spell, and then everything else is going to be a lot easier. We have to break through first, and then we can talk about the morals and ethics of magic. And do we use magic just for our own strengthening and enrichment, which is what the evil sorcerers do? Or do we use it for the betterment of our people and just subtly influence the world so that, we'll make sure that it does rain enough, but not too much. We'll make sure that the sun shines enough, but not too much. And, we will recognize the need for the snow in the winter and the stores that we have made up from the fall, that we'll recognize that even though it makes our lives difficult, there is a purpose to all of these passages that we must respect. So that's my theory. We'll see if it bears out. We'll see how it goes. Maybe, but I do think we are going to get a nice wizard battle with Willow. I do think that he's going to show that actually, and of course he has his own imposter syndrome. He has his own. He does the disappearing pig trick, and I'm sure we're going to get a disappearing pig trick before the end of this because obviously you can't. That is just Chekhov's disappearing pig trick, and it's going to be just because it's just going to be that sweet little misdirection that once again saves the day, because you need that.
I hope this time the pig that he makes disappear is the quote unquote cop that the queen sent that is under the spell of the dark magic.
Oh yeah, and he has got it bad, which I think we all knew was going to happen the minute they hit him with the zombification spell. Yeah, it's like and there's a moment in that where like, shouldn't someone look at that wound? Shouldn't someone say, hey, he stabbed him with a magic rod and said these weird words, but I'm sure he's still good to set out to be the head of the thing, which again is why you have to wonder whether or not there's something going on with Queen Sorsha that is her plotting against the entire thing, maybe even unconsciously. Because it could just as easily be, I so much insist on denying the magic that I won't believe that this guy who obviously just had a spell put on him has a spell put on him. I'm just going to believe that it's all going to work out. Any final thoughts on tonight's episode, Mozz?
No, I'm really liking where this is going and the relationships that are getting more and more fleshed out between all the characters and what they mean for the broader story. So that's getting really interesting. I'm really liking where Graydon's character is going. And she gets abducted at the end. The sentry or whatever he is finally finds Alora and he takes her away. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes.
Exactly. And I agree. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I can't wait to watch 3. I may even watch 3 and 4 again and sort of get a little bit of a jump on it. But I really enjoyed these when they first came out, which was not too long ago, a couple of months ago, but it was just really enjoyable to watch these two, but I didn't want to watch ahead. And now I'm just very excited about having all these things revealed to me. And if you are excited about having stuff revealed to you and you want to talk to us about it, or you want to say you have no idea what you're talking about, watch ahead, because let me tell you how this all ends. You can write to us at CapesandLunatics@gmail.com. That's CapesandLunatics, all spelled out, at gmail.com. Or call us and leave a voicemail where you can actually have your voice played on the air of this show, because we'd love to have that at 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. Likewise, go down into our show notes, go to Linktree, linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics. And there you can find all kinds of merch, links to all of our shows, links to the new Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network website, which has all kinds of shows that we hope you're listening to, as well as merch and things like that, which we hope you will happily buy. And of course, give us money either through Cash App or Patreon. Your choice. We don't care. Just give us the money. And Mozz, if people would like to catch up with us or catch up with you specifically, how can they find you?
Oh, they can email me at mozzmanzor@gmail.com or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzor. That's MOZZ MANZOOR.
And of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way the way our mothers and fathers once did, at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. Of course, follow me on the Twitter as I live tweet things when things can be tweeted live. At Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the two E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing.
Thank you, Mozz. All right, me hearties, you've come again to the end of another Sea of Troubles on the shattered sea that is internet streaming services. Come again next week as we once again sail full stream ahead. Arg.
Right.